obviously, when we talk about a show prospect, then the ultimate goal must be to take that goat and enter it in the show. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a show prospect. Okay, if you're not going to show a goat, you don't need a show prospect. Well, stand up there, goat. If you're going to show a goat, then you probably want to do the best job you can in the show room. Now, if there's more than one goat in there, then somebody is not going to be happy about the placing of that class because only one person's going to be first. And you're not going to win first place every time. You know, you're just not going to do that. But what you do want to do, though, is to give yourself the best opportunity to be placed in the upper part of that class. Because once you start having the potential to move to the upper part of the class, then there's a better chance that you might wind up every once in a while in that top spot, being first in the class. So, there are some things, some characteristics that you tend to look for, or that you need to look for, that just are the kinds of, the better kinds of goats tend to have those characteristics. Okay? That's what I'm trying to say. And that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, in this 4-H market goat program, you can show 3 classes of goats. Right? Everybody knows that. You can show, what about you, young lady? Can you show 3 classes of goats? Yes, you can. She says, I don't know. Well, I'm going to tell you, you can. You can show a wether, you can show a doe kid, or you can show a yearling doe. Now, a wether has to be a kid, right? Has to be a kid. Wethers don't have ID cards. So when they walk up to the show, they don't flip out their driver's license and say, I'm 11 months old. Okay? Or I'm 11 months and 29 days old. Don't do that. So how do we tell if they're old enough or still of the right age to be a wether in the junior market goat show? By looking at your teeth. Wethers have got to have their milk teeth in. Got to have all their milk teeth in. How'd do? Just hand it out of my pocket. I ain't got any money. I told you that. That's how you classify these wether kids. They're going to mouth them. If they don't have all their baby teeth, their milk teeth, then boom, they're out, okay? That's this rule in Tennessee. A wether's got to be a kid. So when you're selecting a wether, then you want to know how old a wether is because when do they start to shed their teeth? Roughly year old, 12 months, you know, roughly, approximately. Does that mean that everyone's going to do it at 12 months? No, some might do it a little earlier than that, some might do it a little bit later than that. So, you know, let's just say that your goal is to have that goat ready for the State Junior Market Goat Show, which is always the last Saturday of the Tennessee State Fair. This year should be September 13th, I believe. If that's your goal, then you need to make sure that the goat is of an age that he's not going to be older than 12 months on show time. Okay? Now, the next thing we're going to talk about are true whether you're talking about a doe or whether you're talking about a wether. Okay? So we're going to spend some time on these characteristics. Let me get my notes out. I don't leave out something important. First of all, structural correctness. About 5 areas we're going to look at. Structural correctness is the first one. That's how the skeleton of the goat is put together. That's the framework for everything else fits on it. You got the bones, the way the bones fit together. Then you've got the meat that covers them up, and you got some fat in there too, connective tissue. Then you got some hide that goes over that, and then the hair. Well, it all starts with that skeleton, and if the skeleton's not right, then the overall general appearance is not going to be right either, okay? The appearance that you and I see. So we want that structure to be correct. Now let's just start up here at the front of the goat and work our way back and down. Start with the neck. We want the neck to come out the top of the shoulder. Well, dang, where else can it come out? I mean, the neck's got to come out up here. Here's the shoulder. The neck's always come out up here. Well, there are varying degrees of top shoulder attachment, okay? They can set down, that top of that neck can set down lower on this shoulder. I was watching you and I totally lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. That neck can attach lower down on this shoulder. All right, it has the potential to do that. If this neck, now which is an extension of the spine, okay, if it appears tying lower down the shoulder, what's that going to look like? That's going to look like we have a depression here. The neck, you know, it comes down, it's going to dip down, it's got to come back up before we get to the tip of the shoulder, or to the withers right up here. All right? You have a condition known as U-neck. So you want that shoulder, that neck to tie in right up here, coming out of the top of the shoulder. All right? You want it to do that. We continue on down the goat's top. All right? The spine of the goat. The top of the goat, you know, the spine is the framework for that. It's the center point of it. We need that spine. We need that top line to be as level as it can be. But is a goat going to be tabletop level? No, it's not made that way. It's not made that way. it's very rare to find a goat that does not have a depression back here behind his shoulders. You take and you rub your hand down it. I mean, it's there. I don't care where it is, where it was raised. They tend to have that depression. That's natural for them. So we're not going to discriminate against that. Now, if it's a big old swayback situation, yeah. But they're naturally going to break or depressed behind those shoulders. But we want it to be as level as it can be for a goat all the way back. Now, when we get back here to this rump region, you know, your hip bones, and you got your pin bones, and that region between the hooks and the pins, the hips and the pins, makes up most of the rump. Now, can you expect to see this rump to be perfectly flat, to be level? No, you can't, because the pin bones are going to be set lower than the hook bones. They need to be. Okay, they need to be. Okay, if we're talking about a female, where's the baby born? The baby is going to come through the birth canal out of the rear end of this goat, right? So is it easier for that goat to go uphill or downhill, that baby being born? Downhill. You need some slope so it can ease the birth process. But if it gets too steep, if there's too much slope, what are the rear legs going to do in this goat? They're going to scoot up under him, right? Or under her. And then she's going to be like sitting down on those legs. I kid, it's hard for a two-legged man to imitate a four-legged goat with legs camped behind. But you know, like he is, standing right there, you know. And just think, if it was like that on both sides, and that's the way that goat walked around all the time because his little hip was too steep. So that's poor structure. That's poor structure. Ideally, the way he's standing now is better. You come out of the tailbone back here, the pin bone, you drop yourself a line. Hit that hock back here, the tip of that hock, drop on down, you catch that pastern, and then on down to the ground. Make a straight line. Notice there's a lot of that leg your line's not going to hit. Now, if that line is going to hit all that leg, that's telling you that leg is super, super straight. Way too straight. You know, you don't have very much shock absorption there. You don't have very much flexion in there. That's just not a good deal. Old goats like that, they tend to become, they don't care if it's a goat or a cow or a sheep, they tend to become arthritic over time. They get sore joints, the cartilage and all wears away because they don't have that good shock absorption, natural shock absorption by having the flexion in there. Down here, on the back legs, on these pasterns, front legs and back legs, the pastern between the dew claw and the foot, that space in there, that's a good shock absorber, natural shock absorber. You want that to be relatively short space in a straight space. Okay? The longer that is, then it has a tendency to get weaker and allow that foot to drop down or that leg to drop down, and those dew claws come into closer proximity to the ground, indicating that the old goat is walking down on its pastures and it's breaking down. Okay, it's not providing the shock absorption it needs. It can be the same on the front or the back. Okay, you can have weak pastures in the front, weak pastures in the back. And these legs, you know, we're talking this goat's body. Think of it as rectangle. Rectangle's got four corners. It's got four legs. Where should the legs be? One on each corner, right? One on each corner. You want it to come down straight. We already talked about it coming down straight out on the back legs back here. On the front legs, same thing. You'd like to have a line, a straight line. Come out. Your knee bone is in line with the rest of the bone. Okay, the knee joint, not pushed off to one side, not to this side, not bucked out. That knee bucked out or over at the knee with the knee stuck backwards, kind of calf knee sort of thing. But you want the legs to come out straight, and you want the feet to point forward, the toes to be pointed forward, not out to the sides, not in. But that's on the front leg and the back leg. It's hard to find one that's just perfect, but you want them as straight as you can. All right, straight as they can be. That was structure criticism.